Hello there, my name is Richard. The first thing you see on my channel, I usually talk about animation or any type of animation. And today I do sort of a segment, once in a while I actually do, called Forgotten Cartoons. Forgotten cartoons only have one or two rules. The first rule is sort of a cartoon is forgotten, and the second rule is the show should last 1 to 2 seasons, maybe 3. It also depends, I could break my rules if the show is really super popular, but a completely different country, not in the United States. That's the only rules I have for this type of segment. And today I'm going to talk about Emara. This cartoon comes straight to Middle East, and one of those cartoons, it's sort of kind of slipped out of that area because sometimes a cartoon kind of hard to just to get out because of how not popular or how specific the subject matter they go in. But Emara is one of those shows they're allowed to sneak out because it's a superhero show. In fact, I describe Emara is basically Miss Ladybug. Sort of clone in a way, but not, because sometimes clones are not the same as the original because they come up with the same time. Usually people have the same idea and sometimes they go completely different directions. And Emara is one of those shows does something similar to Miss Ladybug, but at the same time goes completely a different direction because this is sort of a magical girl / superhero show in a tad of horror. It's one of those that it just sort of love those type of genres and you just feel it, especially the animations. Especially this is a miniseries, but sadly this miniseries has a cliffhanger. You kind of wanted to continue this series, and this is one of those problems in the show that sort of can hurt after you finish watching it because you could want more, but also can hurt depends on the people you talk to who thinks this show is sort of underrated. You have to say I can see what they say, but at the same time disagree because everybody says this is sort of a cliche, a ripoff of other shows. But let me come to that saying everything is a ripoff, nothing is original. It's all about can you execute the ideas the right way. There's some shows that just don't know how to execute it, it just ruined the show. And Emara is the opposite. It knows our cliches, it loves the cliches, they understand they have a limited time, so they have to pull off the cliche perfectly. And I'm 100% sure some of you says like, what do you mean limited? This show only has 5 episodes. They're short. Each episode only lasts 10 minutes long. But the animation, oh my god, the animation is glorious. I mean, it has some shortcuts here and there because they have sort of saved the budget because this is a limited series. They really wanted to make this work. And you can see the dedication, just the fluency. Not just the fluency, the reactions, even the intro, because the intro is very catchy, very telling. It explains perfectly what the show really is. Even the intro does tell the story of the origin of Emara, but it doesn't really tell you, just sort of show you images, sort of idea what is Emara, and it does that perfectly. Now, the story of Emara is basically a young girl who is sort of the superhero called Emara, who basically does her job, stop bad guys, but the only problem is she's doing so well her job, could not create enemies who want her to take her down. In fact, one of the things the first episode points out, she now has a wanted poster of some of the enemies who want her killed or taken down because of them. Now she has to target her back. But to make things more interesting, you have another character called the Prince, if I'm correct, that he is basically wants to be the helper of Emara, her partner, and you think, oh, this is a ripoff of Adrian. Yes and no, because this character is sort of more interesting than that he just want to help out, is that he has a job to help her out, to convince him or her, I mean, to join the organization he is in. But the only problem is we don't know why she want to be convinced or why they want to know more about her, because in the intro it tells that she was sort of kind of saved by her father. Her probably is a scientist who probably saved her life. Once more, I'm stretching here, or at least understanding what the intro trying to tell you, because it doesn't really go that deep because how short it really is. So you have to sort of give you sort of ideas what her origin really is. And the show do point out that Mari's father did die, but at the same time, maybe the reason why he died is because he saved her daughter, because she is sort of, her powers is basically robotic or sort of cyborg kind of character, that she can recreate things but some sort of limited time. But it also kind of hints that her power is not yet fully complete, that she could go even farther. But once more, it doesn't tell you. It sort of show you or give you hints from the intro to the action scenes to the very end, the horror final episode, that it just sort of kind of builds, and it's one of those that it just does it so well that you can actually be interested. Of course, the main villain called Solomon, that you just don't hear him talk, you just hear him breathing, especially that sort of creep factor, because when he show up the final 2 episodes, he just have a bunny, kind of not a bunny, I mean more like a bag draw into like a little dog or a little bunny animal, and he just sort of breathes inside the bag. That sort of kind of horror type of character, like Corky's from Friday the 13th. You know, that sort of, I'm intimidated when I'm doing anything because how big or tall and creepy I am, but you don't know what he's trying to do because he doesn't talk. He's just sort of interesting with Amari. He wants Amari for some creepy reason. And I think that's the reason why I'm so interested in that sort of darkness, a sort of horror-inspired villain. But he doesn't go into monologue. He doesn't say anything. You just his presence and the songs. His sort of intro, the music. He just, when he's stepped in the picture the first time, you just hear the horror song behind him, sort of pump him up so much how frightened he really is. It's the best way to describe it, because that type of characters are kind of original. I mean, kind of, there have been some others, but it's one of those that's sort of kind of hard to pull off. But once more, I feel they did execute completely. Of course, we don't know who he is or why he's doing it, but I have to basically have an educated guess. I'm 100% sure it's probably Amari's father. Once more, I'm just here in logic because this whole show is sort of cliche, and some of the cliche is basically the hero's villain is usually their father, brother, sister, or someone close to him to just hurt him even worse. So I'm just guessing now words. And I feel that could work, especially the horror element. They really lean into it, the final 2 episodes, especially how the villain that you don't know what he wants and show you how dangerous he really is. It's just sort of very compelling, but once more, it sort of depends on you, how you felt. In fact, it's one of those things I'm just wondering, did you ever heard of Amari? Because in one of the shows, it wasn't successful, but it's enough to make a bump in the cartoon community to actually be noticed. Not a huge fan base, but something that once in a while you hear, because it's one of those shows when you watch it, you kind of hard to forget it because it does give you a sort of an impression, a very good one. But once more, I kind of wish does have a season 2. It never did. Maybe because it wasn't successful enough, because you see the animation is just incredible. Now, Amari herself, she is adorable. She's a really likable, nice, sweet type of character. In fact, the whole show, you describe it sort of a wholesome, sort of superhero show, but once more, it's just sort of limited. I really can't say much about it. It's one of those that you kind of need to see yourself how you feel about it, because this show, you could watch it on YouTube, just put Amari episode 1, you just get the first 5 episodes. In fact, there are like different translations, that the English version and also the original version. If you want to see it, it has subtitles if I'm correct. But all of that I kind of recommend it just for if you just enjoy animation, because I can't really say anything bad about this series, because once more, it has cliches, but it does it perfectly. I got really nothing else to say. Just thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and have a wonderful day. Bye.